Hey, Kelsey, Norm MacDonald here. So, you have a podcast, huh? Fantastic. You know what I always say? You know what the world needs more of? Podcasts.
Live from the Screwball Whiskey Studios, the Kelsey Hudgins Show.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen. How you doing? Are you doing well? You doing good? So glad to hear that. Goodness gracious alive. Is it good to hear that? Hey, how you doing? You doing good? Just let me hear that. My hair's bleeding away somehow. I don't care how or why. Doesn't matter, does it? We're here. That's all that matters. Whoa, 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 whoa. Nailed it, huh? Whoa, 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 whoa. I do like me some Eric Griffin, man. Eric Griffin's my dog. I like that shit, man. He good people. Yeah, right. I got Green Band in the Discord chat. Let me get the YouTube. What up, Bruce? What up, Dave? What up, Valish? Let me get this chat over here so I can keep up with what y'all be saying, bruh. Bruce, how you doing, buddy? You ready for that? You ready for that Daytona? What? You ready for that? Goodness gracious alive. So I got this thing shared out everywhere I want to do. Restream does all of that for me. Before we go any further, Screwball Whiskey. I forgot to click audio, live on the audio. Indeed, we are live from the Screwball Whiskey Studios, as always, here to keep you on the track tomorrow. That's right, bro. Always here to keep you happy and all in your good feelings. The peanut butter whiskey, the original peanut butter whiskey, Screwball. There was some imitators out there, and I saw somebody up on Instagram and they said some other brand peanut butter whiskey, and I commented on the thing. I said, no thanks, I'll have a Screwball. And then they said, don't knock it till you try it. And I looked back and my comment got deleted. The original peanut butter whiskey, Screwball whiskey. I look at that other peanut butter Screwball. I look at that other peanut butter whiskey, and I am like, "What in the fuck?
The fuck are you doing here?"
What up, David Bruce? We got David Bruce. We got Bruce Fry. We got Green Band. We got Valish. We got Dave Sarah in the house. Oh, what a day! I haven't really done shit today, man. I've been sitting around. Let me make this a little smaller and easier to work with there. There we go. Hey-o. Whoa, 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 whoa. Give it up for yourselves for getting in here, ladies and gentlemen. It's good to have you in here. It's really good to be here with you. It's nice to have you here today. I got a gig tomorrow for the first time in a long time, man. I've had like an entire week off. Oh yeah, Bruce, y'all got that same big storm that we had to hit us, man. That big storm that came across all of us. I've had all week off. And I've actually done some shit. I know I'm leaning back and y'all probably can't hear me as good when I lean back. Sorry about that. But I've actually been doing shit. I've been like being productive and doing some work with another show. By the way, if you guys haven't seen it, it's called Horsehead Live. Well, I called it Horsehead Live. I don't know what we're eventually going to call it, but that's just the name that we used the other day. So eventually we'll get. Let's hear a little bit more of that one more time. That's it. Where's it at? We still got that bitch going. But But been productive. Did a little Horsehead Live. Oh, hey, Brian. What are you doing on a Friday night? You working or you... I like that a lot. It doesn't translate well. And nah, that's a... Anyway, I keep losing my train of thought because I'm a little stoned. Forgive me. I'm in the mountains hanging out. You know what? We're in the wrong place to be high. You know what? We could be real high. I tell you what, we could be real high. Being like, whoa, that's where we at. That's where we at. It wasn't? I guess it could be. What key is that? Welcome to your life. There's no turning back. It's my own desire. It sounds something like that, right? But anyway, shit, what was I saying? I know I said I was high because I forgot what else I was saying. Oh, yeah. So back to all of it. We did some horsehead businessman stuff. There may have been some stuff in there that I didn't even tie together, but I'm sorry about those things. Forgive me. What can you do? But anyway, I started doing this thing with these guys. Tyler and Noah have been on the podcast before, the Kelsey Hudgins Show. They've also been on MI stuff, and I actually started Sunset Grill with Noah. The very first podcast I ever recorded, I started with Noah. You watching the dog shit in the yard? Well, the dog can't see it, can he? I'm just kidding. Brian's got a blind dog. It was a funny joke. I just wish I could see the laugh that I got out of Brian on that one. It was a joke for one person. It was, yeah, it was real funny, man. I'm sorry. I just thought about it again. But Noah was part of the first podcast I ever did. So it was Noah and Tyler and Adam Justice, who's the guitar player in the band Cornbread with me. They do shit like sketch group, basically, where they do like a bunch of random sketches. And they wanted to do a show, and like I've got all the equipment here, and not only that, but I've got a little bit of experience with streaming and doing shows and whatnot. So I got no problem with hosting the thing and putting everything together like that. So yeah, we got all of us together, and we got all of us together the other day, and that was real fun. We did that on the Horsehead Businessman. I linked that up in the comments yesterday, but I'll also link it up here now. Home here now. home here now. You want to hear some of that. That your mom's house. What was I looking for? Oh yeah, horsehead businessman. Head businessman. Horsehead businessman live stream. You got it. Yes. And I will drop that right here in the chat. Bam. So there you go. There's a link to that right there. So we did that on the other day. So I've been productive. We've been getting that prepared. And we're actually trying to do this real. We're actually trying to do a good job with this thing and like stay on top of it and not get stale with it and not lose our motivation, I guess one could call it, while we've got it. And we went ahead and we went live with something the other day, and it went well considering we had no idea what we were going to do. We had no plans as to what we were gonna go with. We just went live and talked and went back and forth a little bit, and we had a pretty elaborate setup for just a one-time thing, so I was very proud of it. And yeah, it was a good time. It was fun. I think it's gonna turn out well. I think we're gonna stick with this thing and make a really, really fun show for everybody. Unlike this one that's just boring the bejesus out of you. But you know what they say about a boring podcast.
Well, safer than a tube sock.
It goes 1, 2, 3, and we jump in the water. It's just you and me, and these oceans of blue that surrounds us, so blue. I'm a baby boy. You're my best friend Greg's dad. Patty Reagan, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, my boy Patty Reagan right there. That's my boy Patty Reagan right there. Oh, man. So, yeah, my headphones haven't been coming in like they should have been. Oh, well. Just crank them bad boys up some. So, yeah, I got my first gig tomorrow night that I've had all week. I haven't had anything to do, but I have been being productive, as I said earlier. Patty motherfucking Reagan, that's right, Valish. So, tomorrow is going to be a treat. We're going to get to play in a place where I haven't played since my open mic days. I played there when I was hosting I used to host this open mic, and that was my first gig down here. Was hosting an open mic, and it was so cool, man. Like, the dude, I got paid $50. This guy got the gig for me. His name was EJ. He pops in here every now and again. Supplied Sounds. He was also a producer for my In My Stuff podcast. But I started doing those open mics, and those things ended up going pretty well, and we had about 4 or 5 spots that we did a week. So back then, like, my rent was only like shit. My rent was only fucking $400 a month back then. But so I ended up doing those open mics for like $50 a pop. And we had 2 guaranteed a week. We had 2 guaranteed a week, and we would like. But I got to drink and eat for free on the nights that I did. On the nights that I did open mics. Because they weren't giving us much, so they were at least like giving us a few pitchers of beer. They would give us draft beer all night, and like chicken tenders and shit like that. But bar food, like something cheap off the menu. But when I was doing that, ended up picking up a couple more, and the guy who actually got the gig for us, EJ. He gave me $50, and he gave the drummer who brought his drum kit $50. And the drummer, who is actually he's a great drummer in this area, and he's played with a lot of fucking great bands, TJ Mark. He was 16 years old at the time, and his dad used to come to the bar with him. His dad really cared for him, man. His dad really looked out for him and made sure he wasn't getting fucked over in anything. And I always respected that about his dad. And TJ became like great because of that guidance, you know. And it's just so awesome that a dad realized his son at 16 years old had this sort of talent and was willing to put. Most dads, if their son wants to play music at 16 years old, will be like, you know, go get a job, go do whatever the fuck, go get a, you know, go get a job. Don't mess around with this. There's no money in this. But his dad really like helped him foster that, and I don't know. I thought that was real cool. But anyway, that's beside the point. The actual point is, me and TJ got paid $50 a piece, and the guy who brought the sound system and organized everything and booked it got the other 100. I'm pretty sure it was like $150 or 200, and maybe we all three got $50 or whatever. Doesn't matter. I was making literally just enough money off of open mics to pay rent, and I wasn't even paying rent at that time. I kind of fucked my roommate over at that time, and he'll never listen to this because he doesn't listen to podcasts, but Charlie, I was a roommate of mine, and I kind of fucked him over because I didn't pay rent for like a long time. But I felt bad. It was Brian Jordan texting me about this fool. That's what I'm saying, man. But I ended up like we were living in this big nice house and shit, and I kind of fucked him over because we moved out of that really big, nice house into like this very small, like it was just a very small, like not a nice place. And I had to pay the same amount of rent in this new place that I moved into that I was paying at the old, nicer place. And it just was not a great thing, a great idea for me. And here's the thing that really, really fucked me over. And I'm tying all of this back together, so forgive me if I'm going around the story, but that's how I tell stories. Plus, I'm stoned. So there was this guy who owned a few properties that Charlie had me doing landscaping and shit for. And the guy who was doing the land, he owned one of these houses, and he was like, I just evicted this guy, and the house he left in awful shape. It was just a wreck of a house. But he commissioned me to clean this house out and make it presentable for the owner. And I told him this, years later when I was just coked out of my mind and I was losing my mind on some shit because I used to do mad amounts of cocaine for a little bit of my life. Don't do that, kids. Don't do it. It's not worth it. It's awesome and awful at the same time, and only anybody who's done it knows that that's true. But he commissioned me to clean this house. So I went in, and y'all, I found pocket pussies in this place. What up, Brandon? I found pocket pussies in this place. You get a wrench for showing up. I stole that trick from Jamie Deluxe, my buddy Jamie Deluxe. Go check him out at Jamie Deluxe on YouTube. He does fantastic work in exposing Hollywood pedophiles and shit, like creepy people. But anyway, I found pocket pussies in this house. I found a pot of spaghetti, like a half a pot of spaghetti in a cabinet, like not a refrigerator, in a cabinet. Like I pulled this thing out and there was like literally like spaghetti sauce in it and a spoon, and it was just sitting in a cabinet. And like I said, it was a pocket pussy and a little thing with like an asshole with fingers that was pulling it apart and red fingernails. I remember it just like it was yesterday. It was just fucking disgusting. But I found this shit in that house. I cleaned this thing out just like they asked me to. I mopped this shit like I've cleaned. I fucking, and I can, not to brag, but I can clean the fuck out of something. Like when I set my mind to cleaning, I clean like a madman. Like I do a very fucking good job and a very thorough job of cleaning when I do it. And anybody who knows me well knows that that's how I operate. So after I cleaned this fucking house, a couple of days later, Charlie decides he's going to buy this house. And he goes in to everything that I spent hours and hours and hours cleaning and just fucking rips it all off the wall. All of those cabinets that I spent hours scrubbing, he rips it off the wall. That fucking, the floor in the house that I spent hours scrubbing, he pulls it all up. And like I spent fucking 2 weeks, every day for 2 weeks, I was going over to this fucking house, doing little by little. Like this place was bad. This dude had fucking crates of cat litter, used cat litter in the fucking attic. So it was, I don't know what you would do with used cat litter, but he kept fucking crates of cat litter with like cat shit, like cat logs in the fucking attic. And it was just the most disgusting thing I'd ever seen. And I don't know, it was fucking a mentally traumatic thing for me to have to experience cleaning that fucking place and going through all that shit and then having it, like all that stuff ripped off the wall. And I'm not saying this in a negative thing about Charlie. Charlie's a good dude and I love him. He's my fucking brother. And I love him, and I always will. We're family, but I just had to say I had to say to him, I was like, dude, that's why I was so weird for as long as I was weird, because like it fucked my head up, man. Like that fucked me up mentally, having to go into this place that was literally like a fucking hell, and thinking like, oh my god, dude, like I can't see how anybody could ever live like this. Like I could never live in a place like this. And then literally like a bad dream, everything turned around to where I ended up living in that place. And like, and I'll say this, Charlie did a fantastic job of making that house fucking pristine. He put great fucking cabinets up on the wall. He put like a brand new fucking refrigerator, brand new stove and oven, brand new showers, everything. What up, freight train rolling in? He put brand new everything in his house. Brand new hardwood floors all the way through it. And it was a really nice place after it was all said and done. But I was just mentally traumatized by everything that went on, because we lived in this place as we were fixing it up. So it was just like, it was a fucking It was a fucking nightmare for a really long time for me. And I told him that. But then I felt bad for telling him that because it was like, this thing could have been so much worse than it actually was. Could have been so much worse than it was, but anyway, so I didn't pay rent for a really long time in that place, and I felt like a shithead for doing that. And I told you that long, elaborate story just to say that the money that I made, the $50 here and there, I would use to buy weed. You know, every time I got a $50, I would go buy an eighth of weed. And my weed guy at that time knew me well enough to save me a slice every time he got something new. Hey, good to see you too, Fred. Appreciate you stopping by, Puddin'. So yeah, like he would save me an eighth of weed, and I would go $50 here, $50 there, give me an eighth of weed, and I'd be like, hey man, I'd love to have some weed, but man, I just don't have any money right now. And he'd be like, I got you, bro. I don't have to hunt you down. And I've always been so weird about taking shit like that on credit because I know me, and I know I'm flaky when it comes to stuff like that. Like I don't like duck people or anything like that. My money shows up at weird times, and I got this computer that I'm rolling on right now, and I owe like $900 on this thing, and they're like, we need to set you on an exact time every month when we can expect a payment. And I'm like, listen, I would love to do that. I just there's no way I can. Like my money doesn't show up, you know, like everybody else's does. Like it just doesn't work like that for me. So, but yeah, I can tell you that I'll have this payment on the 15th, but I might not, and that's just all there is to it. It's nothing, and I understand that a lot of people are used to people just taking advantage of them, and that's never my intention, is to take advantage of anybody, though that might be what a lot of people use, like not paying back on time, or like borrow money from somebody and just like just simply not having it to pay back. But I've never done anything like that, like just to say, oh well, fuck you, you know, well yeah, well fuck you. It's always like, man, I literally like don't have it right now. And it's a whole lot of like robbing Peter to pay Paul, but robbing Peter and like, or not being able to pay Paul, and Peter's pissed. Like I'm just having to take the money I've robbed Peter from, I'm having to take the money I've robbed from Peter to fucking eat with. And then Paul's like, hey, where's my money? And Peter's like, hey, where's my money? So instead of like, that's the story of my fucking life, by the way. But anyway, I'm not going down that hole again. The basically what I was saying is that I am playing a gig this weekend, tomorrow night, in a place that I haven't played since I did the open mic. You know what? It's a little dark, man. Let's go somewhere nice. Let's go somewhere nice here. There we go. I feel a little bit better in that situation there, like a little. Oh, by the way, if you're listening to this on audio, I suggest you watch the podcast at Kelsey Hudgins on YouTube, because it's just, you get to see more of the neat little stuff that I've built in this digital world that I live in. But it's gonna be fun to go do this gig. It'll be a duo gig, and duo gigs are they're fine. They're just. I get bored so easily. I get bored with just so easily, and we do duo gigs the most out of anything else. And anything that I do a lot, I'm gonna get bored with, and it's nobody's fault. It's nobody's fault. I just get bored and I can't help that. I really wish that I could, but I just can't help getting bored with things. And I'm just a little bored. But it's fine. Like, I know what I have to do. I know it's my job. I know what I have to do. I know I have to do my job, especially this time of year. It's nobody's fault. Like I said, it's nobody, and I can do all. I can blame all this stuff on just people or other people in my life, but it's nothing more than my own head, and that's the truth. There's nothing more than my own head, and I just get bored in my own head, and I get the idea in my own head was like, oh, we have to do this thing again. We have to do this. And I'm not saying the songs. I'm not talking about songs. I'm talking about like just the same setup, man. I get into I don't know, like I get into like what do you call it? Like a rut, stuck in a rut in a way, like doing the same thing over and over to me, even though we do move it around from bar to bar. Feels a lot like an office job, like where I just go in at 9 o'clock every morning and sit in this office and do this thing that I'm supposed to do, whether no matter what, like just obligated to be somewhere. And I don't like that, man. That's what that feels like to me. It's just more like punching a clock, and I can't turn that off. I can't. And now, what's funny is that Kill Tony made the solo gigs more fun for me because I got to do stand-up in between my sets or in between my songs, and that's really fucking fun. Like, I love to do that. Like, that's my favorite thing. And I've done the stand-up just with the microphone, but I prefer to play my songs and do the comedy in between. Like, that's a killer combo, man. Like, if you can... Like, people who go to a comedy show, they're going to a comedy show to hear jokes. They're going to a comedy show expecting to laugh or expecting something funny. People who go out to eat at a place, they're not expecting anything like that. They're expecting, they walk in and they see a guy in the corner setting up with a guitar and speakers and shit. They're like, oh, there's a band. Cool. And then when I get up and I start, doing kind of like stand up, and they're like, oh, okay, so this is that. And then I get a couple of laughs, and then those couple of laughs spread throughout the bar and throughout the restaurant, and I'm like actually doing pretty well. And then I'm like, all right, but we're not here to talk about that. And then I go into whatever song I'm going to play, and like, here's, anyway, here's Wagon Wheel or whatever it is. It wouldn't be Wagon Wheel, but still. I have that, and I'm not saying that I use that as a crutch to fall back on or anything. I'm just saying that, like, I'm pretty good at playing songs, and I'm pretty good at, like, talking to crowds. Like, crowd work is something that I've always been pretty good at, and just being in a situation to where I can get away with doing both of those is ideal. And I like doing that. It's fun. And I'm not trying to brag or anything. I really enjoy showing that side of myself to the world. What up, poser? Oh, Logan. Oh, Bucky's Logan. Oh, Texas Logan. That's what they call him. Oh, Mustache Logan. Is that your slogan, Logan? But yeah, I don't know. I'm excited to do this gig this weekend. But I also am excited to start streaming more. And I'm sorry if I'm boring. I know that I am sometimes, and I'll just sit here and get a high and not really like be like a lot of my words won't make sense together. They won't string together as well as I would like for them to. But I'm really gonna need to lean on the streaming and doing podcasting more so coming up here in the future, just because I'm gonna need to be getting some shit off my chest so that the rest of my life doesn't go awry. And I know, right on, homemade. Thanks for stopping by, Puddin'. And I know that I have this thing where I will let things build up, and I know I have this thing where I will like let things build up with a certain, like in certain areas of my life to where not things that people do or say to me. Somebody says something to me, or if I have a problem with somebody, like I will 9 times out of 10 say that right then, unless that person who I have this problem with is every single time acts like a baby when we bring up problems and can't talk about problems but can only get mad. Then I have to keep these things bottled up, and I don't like to do that because then it bleeds into other areas of my life. So the season's about to start kicking off. I'm gonna need to like get these bad thoughts out of my head. Get these negative energies. Get this negative energy. You got it. Negative energy. Arms crossed. Front row. See, I don't even have the Brody right now. I don't know what's going on. It's weird. But no. Like I know me, and I've been knowing me for 33 years. So I know what to expect from me. And I have to put these certain things in place in my own life so that I can alleviate the pressure that I'm feeling in my public life through this and vent to you guys about stuff. And this might end up just being me venting for a little bit. But now I've got a couple of podcasts that I'm part of now, and I'm doing this, the Kelsey Hudgins Show, and I'm also helping Richard Squires out with his show. But he's going to start. We're getting him to the point where he can be self-sufficient and record on his own. But I'm also helping out. We're doing the Horsehead Businessman with Adam, Tyler, Noah, Ed, and myself. And we're going to have other guests and segments and stuff. And we're going to be doing that every week. So that'll be something creative and nice that I can flex that creative bone with, because I don't feel like I'm really flexing it too much in my music as of late. And that's going to get to me booking a lot of original shows this year, because I really feel like I'm going to be booking a lot of original solo gigs. And nothing against the guys in the band, but I don't connect. What up, Stosh? Thank you, Puddin'. I don't like nothing against the band. I just feel a stronger connection with the song, with my originals when I play them. And not only that, like I feel very protective of my songs. And I don't want to expose them to me being like, okay, well, I don't even want to do this song anymore, because there's certain songs that I will like sort of try. The Great White North, The Great Canada. Appreciate you, Stosh. We thought Stosh was dead the other night because he went outside in the cold, but he ended up not making it outside, which I'm glad for. Good on you, Stosh. I'm glad you're with us. But I there are certain songs that we do that where I'm like, and I'll give subtle hints as to like, hey, I want to try this like this. Let's do this thing. But then I'll just get, I don't know. I'll get ill in the middle of a song because I'll be singing something and, like I'm singing something and then all of a sudden I'm not the only one singing that thing anymore. So then I'm like, well, what do you need me for? What am I here for then? Like I was doing just fine. And I know it's a stupid thing to get ill about, but it's a reoccurring issue that I have. That's the number one thing that I feel like bothers me. And it's not that it's like, oh, well, I don't want you to do this because I can do this. It's just that when that happens in the middle of a song and in the middle of a thing, it's like, if it's almost to say, hey, I can do this thing. You're doing this thing. I can do this thing. And I'm like, we don't need you to do this thing right now, but that's fine. And I've like just gotten to where there's songs that I've introduced and now I'm like, I don't even care to do them anymore just because I feel like it gets taken over halfway through and I lose control of the thing that I was doing. And that's not necessarily about control, but somebody's got to have it. I mean, if nobody has control, then it's all just an unorganized mess. And that's the thing. That's the same thing in anything. Like, if you get too many cooks in the kitchen, it's never good, and it's hard. It's just, and I'm the sort of person that's like, if you get in that situation to where you're doing things that leads me to believe that you're going to run this and you're not run this, but you're going to be in charge and you're going to be doing the lead right now, then you do the lead and I'll back off. And then every time I back off, it's like there's nothing there. So to me, it says that that's only necessary to do that when I'm also doing that. Like, it's only necessary to sing that note or that same line that I'm singing when I'm doing it. So if I'm not doing it, you should also be doing it because one of us needs to be. This is the kind of thing that I talk about. Like, I know that this is just something that is like totally off like subject, but it's something that has to come out because I'm thinking about it. And you're right, Valich. Everybody has to be heard in the mix. And to me, it's like, dude, we're in this thing together. They know we're both here. They see us both here. If they can't see that we're both here, they know that we're both here. Like, they know that. And it's like, you're not going to get paid any less if you just don't make any noise for a little bit. Like, there's certain things that there's certain times when I personally know that I'm not needed to sing. So I back off. And I visibly step away from the microphone every time I do that. One band, one sound, exactly right. They're not hearing you when they're out there. They're hearing us. So, right. Drumline was a great fucking movie, man. And I'll visibly step away from the microphone to show that I'm not here to be seen or to show myself the entire time. I'm here for this band. I'm here for the sound. I'm here to give these people in this crowd a great show. And I want everyone to use that. And not to say that my way is the best way. Or even my way or the highway. Because I've not been that person. I've been that person in the past. But ever since I've gone sober and been conscious about trying to be a better person, I've not done that. And I'm just suggesting that, you know what, man? Sometimes whenever it's okay to back off and just play the beat. It's fine for me to just, like, I can play leads. I can play any lead that I want. I'm pretty fucking good at leads. But when I know it's time for me to sit back and strum the guitar, I do that. I'm 100% fine with just strumming the guitar and not doing anything extra. And I mean, I'm a showy rhythm player. Like, instead of doing... Instead of playing like this, I'll do... I'm a showy rhythm player, but I'm fine with just sitting back and playing rhythm. I'm fine with doing that. And I feel that that's something that just should be adopted by anyone who plays music. Anyone who plays music should be fine with just holding to their rhythm and sticking to the beat and not trying to do anything extra or I think that it's very important to understand that less is more. Less is so much more. Like, sometimes you think, oh, well, I know these words, so I'll just sing this part too. Sometimes just because you know the words doesn't mean that it's necessary for you to sing at that point. And I have a hard time conveying that in a manner that will keep all parties involved on an even keel, because it will sound like I'm just saying these things to belittle this person when that is not the case at all. My only concern is always the band and the sound. That is always my concern. And I don't know, like, I find it hard to bring these things up because I find it hard to bring these things up because I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings, because those are not my intentions. Those are not my intentions at all, to hurt anybody's feelings. I literally just want to make our band as great as it can be. I want to make our band literally as good as it can be, and I know that the thoughts going through people's heads, silence is more important than sound. Miles Davis, 1,000%, dude. Dude, those notes are great that you can play, but the silence between them says more than those notes do. And like, I know that this person will hear this, like, maybe podcast and just think, you know, that I'm literally just kind of being a dick about this situation, and I'm not. I'm literally not. I just want to make this, I want to make the band sound as great as it fucking can. And I understand that they might be like, oh, well, you think that it's supposed to go this way. I think it's supposed to go this way. So I'm going to do what I want to do anyway. And that's how it works every single time. That's always how it works. And I just really wish that it wasn't, because I have situations in where we'll have conversations, and the conversation will start off with a hard disagreement. And it's always a hard disagreement right off the bat. And then we have a conversation about it. And then at the end of the conversation, it's like, oh, I see your point. I understand what you mean. And it was just a misunderstanding the first time, when that argument would have not been necessary had the situation just gone, oh, okay, yeah, well, fine. Instead of immediately disagreeing, because it just seems like that no matter what it is that I say, it's going to be wrong, and no matter what I say, there's a disagreement immediately. And I would say that 10 times out of 10, literally 100% of the time that we've ever had disagreements about things, the disagreement has been because this person just immediately assumes that they know what that they know what I'm saying, and they immediately base what I'm saying on their understanding rather than giving me the opportunity to explain my understanding. They make up their mind immediately, and then I have to spend 20 to 30 minutes like explaining to them that they've misunderstood what I'm saying. 90% of the conversations that we have are me being like, you're misunderstanding what I'm saying, and them going, no, I'm not. And I'm like, but you don't, you're blocking me right now, man. You're blocking everything I'm saying right now. And that makes it really hard to continue to have these conversations. It makes it really hard to get fired up about, being in the same room, man. Like, I mean, and I love this person fucking more than most in my life. But it just, those situations, it's just like, man, like, I'm not being heard, bro. I'm not being heard. And it's like, I understand that they might be a bit older than me. They might feel like they got more life experience, and they do. They really do. They got more life experience than I got. But that doesn't mean that I don't know things too. Like, that, just because they have more life experience and more hours on this earth, more years on this earth than I do, doesn't mean that everything I say is wrong. Because historically, and I don't want to fucking put numbers on this shit, but anybody who knows me well knows that I'm a stats person. I can see a fucking baseball or basketball or football, any sports statistic, and I remember it forever. Like, I can randomly see it in passing, and I can quote it for later to explain something to somebody. And like 100% of the time, I'm batting 1,000 on saying things that are accurate and getting in an argument with a person, and then at the end of the argument, having them realize, oh shit, he was right. And that's happened a fucking 1,000% of the time. And I'm not trying to say that I'm right all the time. I'm just trying to say that if I'm not 100% on something, I won't say it. I know, Timmy. I got to do this February, bro. This is the slowest. Like, January was busier than this month is, dude. I don't know, man. But I don't know, dude. I get into my feelings, man, and I get to thinking about stuff like this, and it starts to make me not look forward to going to work. And I really, and I know I sound like a needy wife in a marriage, but like, I don't know. Like, I'm like a needy wife in a marriage saying, I'm not being heard here, but I'm not being heard. And that's a very, very frustrating thing for me. Like, I really don't like not being heard, because unless I'm on here, unless I'm talking to you guys on the voice chat and Kill Tony, or I'm here chatting with a live stream, I'm pretty quiet. Like, when I go out into the world, like, I don't, like, if I know somebody and we're having a conversation, I'll talk for hours, like almost too much. But most of the time, like, I'm pretty quiet. Like, I don't really speak up unless I have something to say. If I have nothing to say, my lips are sealed. David Byrne, who's going to be on SNL this week. Or is it this week? It's coming up. He's on with Mulaney. That's going to be a really good episode. I don't like Saturday Night Live a lot, but I'm going to watch that one. But no, like, and I don't want this whole thing to be just a rant about the stuff like that I'm going through. But I have to say these things, or else they'll just eat me up from the inside. And eat me up inside. Yeah, I feel like everything that I say is wrong just because I've said it right off the bat, and I don't get a chance. Like, I don't get, but I feel like I have to argue my opinion every time. Like, instead of it just being like 100% of the time that I've brought something to the table, it's been disagreed with immediately. And then 20 to 30 minutes later, or then after the gig, it's like, after enough time to think about the situation, they always come around to what I meant. They always understand what I was saying. And then I just like, it fucking hurts my feelings that that my opinion is not respected, that I have to fight for everything that I say. Like, I don't want to have to fight for everything that I say. Sometimes I just want it to be like, oh, I never thought of it like that. Like, what's wrong with that? It's just, it's like immediately combative every time. And that fucking hurts my feelings, man. I've thought so before, Timmy, but no, not anymore. No, it's not the delivery. It's like, it's not that. It's just, it's literally just, because I've had the same issue from day one, man. It's been this, you don't know what I know thing since day one. And I wasn't exactly the best at it. I wasn't exactly the best at this a few years ago, but like I said, ever since I've like quit drinking, which is coming up on 4 years this month, ever since I've quit drinking and I've like tried to make better decisions in my life and make sure that I'm not in the wrong on anything that I'm saying. Like, I want to make sure that I'm doing it right. I don't want to fuck anything up. I don't want to be an asshole. I don't want to be that guy. I truly don't want to be that person. And I've made a conscious effort to not be that person lately in my life. So ever since then, no, I'm very, absolutely, Stosh. The easiest way to get sober? One day at a time, dude. So you know what? I think I'm not going to drink today. I got Coors Lights in my refrigerator right now, bro. I could crack one open right now and end it all. But you know what? I've already built 4 years up on this thing. Why go back now? And it's just like that. It's like, but I had that same mentality that I do right now on the second day. It was like, I could drink today, but I didn't yesterday. So I don't think I'm going to drink today either. And then when it got to the point where I went 1 week and they were like, you ever going to drink again? Are you sober? No. And there was money out. There was money out on when I would drink again. I guarantee there was a money line on out, because I'm all my friends are alcoholics and gamblers. I guarantee there was a line out on when I was going to quit drinking, but that shit's already gone. Somebody hit, because I could tell somebody would come up to me and be like, oh, don't you just miss the taste of Rumple Mints? And then just like push one up under my nose and being like, oh, you bet on today, didn't you? You slack motherfucker. But not ever since I've been, putting my foolish, childish ways behind me, and I've literally tried to revamp myself, and I've tried to be a different person. I've tried to be a better person, and they say that people don't change. I say bullshit. I say that people can be whoever the fuck they want to be, as long as they are willing to put in that fucking effort. And I know that to be true because I have changed. I have literally changed. I am not, you want to rule those hobos, I hear you, Stosh. I am not the person that I used to be, by any means. People 1,000% change. I said, people never change. That's horseshit. I have changed. And I feel like that certain things, I do feel like that, and I feel a lot better now that I've gotten this out. I feel really good about it. But I do feel like, man, I'm just not heard in a lot of situations in which I feel that I should be heard in. And like, it fucking hurts my feelings to know that somebody who I spend that much time with in this work relationship that we've had for the last few years, and I just feel that like my reputation precedes me. I've proven myself. You know, I've proven myself, I've proven my worth, I've proven my knowledge. I just really wish that sometimes that would be respected rather than thinking, oh yeah, I hear what you're saying, but I'm going to do this thing. It's like, I just don't, I feel that everything that I say is met with attrition. Not attrition, that's the wrong word. It's close to that though. What's the word I'm looking for? Everything that I bring to the table is met with aggression. Aggression will work. That's not the word I was looking for. It was a more fancy word than that. Oh well. But everything that I bring to the table, it just seems to be met with like an aggression and a passive aggression sometimes, but an aggression, no doubt. And like, then I have to spend time fighting my point. And that just makes, and yeah, it's an obstacle. There really is. It's a bunch of hoops. It's like it's a bunch of hoops that I have to jump through. It's like I have to prove every single time that I bring something up. I have to show my work every time. And I'm like, dude, just trust that I've already done the work. Like, don't make me show my work every time. I did this problem in my head. Don't make me show you how I got there. Just trust that I put brain power into figuring out this issue. And I've had so many conversations that I'm hearing right now. Oh, you know, I've done the same thing. You know, I've gone this, but and that's fine. But the only thing that's different is that at the end of every conversation, we always end up agreeing on the thing that I said to start with, and that just bothers me a lot, guys. It just bothers me a lot. But you know that's fine. It's fine because that's what I have this thing for. That's what I have you guys for. And I'm sorry to be the one to just come in here and just dump my heart out to you and all that nonsense. I hate to be the guy to come in here and just be a bitch for an hour, but sometimes you got to do stuff like that just to keep everything else in your life clean and clear. So there's that. I didn't want the Kelsey Hudgins show. I didn't want the Kelsey Hudgins show to end up becoming the MI stuff again, to where I was just getting on here and holding my guitar and just bitching about things in my life. But I guess that's kind of just what I do, huh? I guess some people never change. Oh, man. I have changed. Goodness. There was a time in the middle of a song when I would lean over. Case in math. Yeah, that's right. That's right. You have to argue your case. That's right. I don't want to have to argue my case every time. Sometimes like, dude, we've been friends. We've been fucking brothers. We've stood next to each other on stage and stuff like that for fucking 10 years now. January makes 10 fucking years that we've been doing this thing. And like, dude, just sometimes, man, just take my word for some things, man. Just that would mean so much. Just like, take my word for some shit, man. It is. Every time we make a case, we got to defend it. It is a bitch. And I don't want to have to be put into the position to where I have to defend something that I've said, but that's how it happens every time. And it's always just a misunderstanding. It's just that he thinks I've said something that I haven't said, and I'm like, no, you're understanding this from your perspective, and you're not listening to it from mine. And then that, every single time I say that, then we have to go into the, oh, how am I gonna hear anything other than from my perspective? And I'm like, well, you just have to open your mind up a little bit more than you are right now, and and think broader than your understanding. And I do that with everything that I do. Like, I take myself out of every equation that I speak at. Like, I take myself out of every fucking equation that I'm a part of. And I have to do that because I'm a selfish person if I don't. I'm a very selfish person if I don't. I have to take myself out of the equation. And like, by doing that, like, I was like, I've looked at this from the viewpoint that I'm not involved. Like, I'm looking at this as if I'm you. And I react to it like that. Now, I ask certain questions to gain, like I plug that into my understanding of what you would think. And then I may have questions I would need to ask to validate my opinion. But I never like just say something because, I say it. So like, I want to think, I want to have like thought through this thing. I don't want to just to speak and say something for the sake of saying it. I want it to be understood that I'm actually like fucking putting effort into putting these thoughts together. Proof does come in many forms. It really does, man. And these things don't... And the only reason I'm saying all this stuff now is just because it's been a long time since I have talked about this specific issue and said it in a form of public fashion in which it could actually be heard, because I know that he'll listen to this. I hope that he will listen to this and hear these things. It's just so much easier. It's so much easier and don't think that I'm talking shit. I'm not. I'm literally not talking shit. I'm just speaking factually about my feelings about a situation, not to sway anybody's opinion on a certain person or situation or anything at all. That's not why I'm doing this, and I do not want that to be the results of here. So, I just, hell yeah, I see the Aussie in the house, our Australian brother from down under. But, and I don't want this to think that I'm talking shit or like, spreading rumors or spreading shit like this. I just need to say these things. And to be perfectly honest, dude, there's no way that I could say these things in person without it becoming a huge fucking situation. And just to be perfectly honest, if it would just be to a way that where this could be heard and rattled around and thought about and then have the conversation about it, this shit will just be so much better. I just don't want, man, I just want everything to go fine. I want everything to go cool. I don't want to keep feeling like awkward in shit. And I feel awkward sometimes because I'm thinking something that I 100% cannot say because there's just going to be a problem. And that's how it is. And I shouldn't have to fear... Like, I shouldn't have to fear saying something for, like, hurting somebody's feelings or not necessarily hurting anybody's feelings, but just, I shouldn't have to fear, like, speaking my mind. I shouldn't have to fear that. I mean, and I fear that for our band. I don't want anything bad to happen to our band because I love our band. And even though it's punching a fucking clock, I love punching that clock. And it is punching the clock, but I do enjoy it. Without that, I would have to cut grass. And I kind of like cutting grass, but guess what? I like what I'm doing a lot more, and I just don't want anything negative to happen to that. I don't want anything negative to happen to that, and I'm trying to protect the band from me, because I am the one to say, fuck it, I don't need this, I can do all of these things by myself. And I don't want to ever get to that point. But I know that I have the capacity to allow myself to get to that point if I don't like speak up every now and again. And if this has to be my speaking up, then so be it. But I just can't say these things in person because there's just too much involved. There's just too much. There's too much history. There's too much history involved. I used to, in the middle of a song, we'd be playing a song, and I would be like, "You're slowing down. You're speeding up. Stop playing right here. Don't do that. Are you gonna sing it? If you're gonna sing it, I don't need to sing it. There's no need for both of us to sing." I would do these things in the middle of a song, and it is hard working with friends, but it's like you're right, Tech. But I would always do those things in the middle of songs, and I would just be so shitty. Oh yeah. I definitely need to do that. But then I don't know. I've tried so many different ways of just saying like, oh man, like I was watching this documentary the other day on blah blah blah, and just hearing him talk about how the most important thing in music is knowing when not to play, and knowing when to just chill out for a second, and knowing when to calm down, and just say things like that. And then just say, like, pretty much just watch a documentary about somebody who's got 40, 50, 60 years of experience playing instruments, and I hear them say something that I've been saying for a decade now. And I'll be like, oh, so these people are also saying it. So, I can't be wrong. If all of these people are saying the same thing, like, I can't be wrong. And I just, like, get into that. And I've tried different ways of, like, getting my point across. And not that my point's always necessary to get across. Sometimes something will happen, and I'll sit around for a couple days, and I'll rattle it back and forth and think, am I being an asshole about this? I told somebody today, one of my friends today, we were talking, and I was like, I spend most of my time thinking, am I an asshole about this? Like, surely I'm being unreasonable here. I'm the problem. I'm the one that's being unreasonable. It's my fault. I am the one that's like, I'm wrong. I'm wrong here. I'm the one that's the problem. So then I go into the next day thinking that, I'm the one, I'm the asshole, I'm the dick for thinking this thing. And then I go and we do something, we do a gig or whatever, and then I'm like, something happens to where I'm like, oh man, come on, man, just like I was already doing that. Like but I know it sounds shitty for me to say, hey man, I don't need you right then. I don't need you right there to do that. And it's not like, and I say I don't need, and that's probably my problem, is saying I don't need right there in my mind. And I never say that in like anymore. I used to for sure, but not anymore. But I won't but me saying like, hey man, like it's not necessary for you to sing right there, or it's not necessary for you to hit a drum right here, or like, or hey, just don't play right here. And I mean, I do the same thing for now, and this is there's another situation like the other there's a couple people that I do these things with. Now the other person who's like, they know that I'm not being an asshole. I'm just speaking in a matter of fact when I say, don't play right here. And they'll just stop. And then I'll be like, and then I'll do the nod in when they're supposed to come in or whatever. Like, then that's just because I feel like, that somebody has to be in charge of shit. The order of the way things go, or else it'll just be an unorganized mess. So like, we came to an agreement a few years ago that like one of us would handle the social media and the computer stuff. The other one would handle merchandise and all of those things, pricing and printing and getting merchandise. And the other one would handle stage, songs, like bringing stuff to the table, bringing songs to the table, and stage presence and running like order of show, basically, MC, if you will. And like I've always done the order of show, and like but I'm very, very even about like making sure that everybody in the band gets to choose songs that we do. Everybody gets to pick songs. Everybody gets to like and there's a few songs that we do every gig, and that's fine. I'll complain about it, but I really, in all actuality, I don't mind it. It's just, it kills time. It gets us closer to the end of the gig. And as much as I love playing music, when I'm up there, it's work sometimes, and I'm just ready to get off work. No different than anybody else. Not that I don't like my job. I love my job. Sometimes just ready to get done. And any of those songs just gets us closer to the end of the gig, and I'm 100% fine with that. And I'm very, very even about making sure that everybody's voice gets heard, as far as like, we do things that you like to do, we'll do things I like to do, and we'll do things that they like to do, we'll do things the room wants to hear. We'll meet everybody in the middle. Everybody will get heard. Everybody will all be on the same page with this. And I'm very, very, I'm a Libra. I'm very good about balancing the scales. I'm trying to hold my guitar and balance scales too. But anyway, I'm very good at keeping the scales balanced. And that's how our situation is broken apart. So when I lean over and say, hey, don't play right here, or soften down a little bit, or what the fuck was that chord? Like, are we on the same stage? Are we playing the same song? And I say that a lot, but I'm able to say that, and they understand, that I'm not being an asshole. I'm just, that's just me. That's how I communicate. And like, that's understood with one and not understood with the other a lot of the times. And just, I don't want to get like feelings involved in the situation. There's no reason to take any of these things personal. There's no reason to take any of these things personal. I'm trying to give the crowd as good of a show as we can give them. And whether or not you think that you might be doing the right thing, or you might be, okay, well, I'm going to give the crowd a show I think they should get, that's fine. But there has to be something between stop and go. There can't be 0 acceleration and 100 acceleration. There has to be and not only that, there can't be a 0, a 50, and 100, or even a 0, 25, 50, 75, 100. There has to be every digit between 0 and 100 represented sometimes. Like, dynamics are the most important part in playing music. And sometimes those dynamics sometimes we lack those dynamics. And they've gotten worlds better in recent history. As a matter of fact, namely in like the last few months, shit has gotten so much better. And just like, I can tell that there used to be the only time that I would guarantee that the only time instruments were getting played was when they were on the stage. But as of late, I can hear the difference in both guitar and drum that they're playing when they're not on stage now. They're actually practicing techniques and stuff, and that's necessary. That's very fucking necessary. So I'm like very happy about that, and like we've gotten so much better. Like we've stepped up our game so much production wise, even, and we have the light show now that I used to hate because I'm simple, man. I like simple stuff. I just like, let's show up, let's play these songs and show these people what we can do. We don't need all that shit. We don't need all that shit. And I used to call it all that. We don't need all that shit. And I complain about it and complain about the fog machine, which is the fog machine. Like it adds a lot of visual effects, but it is murder on my fucking lungs. But I'm fine with it. It's added so much, and I've literally come around from how I used to feel about that. And like that adds so much, and he's gotten so much fucking, like, so much better over the last year for sure. But like I really feel like that there are just things that maybe someone else has told him over the last year that he's actually listened to. But it's like after 7 years of me saying, hey man, trying to do this thing right here, he's actually doing it now. So whoever he's listening to, or whoever it is that he's talking to that he trusts enough to learn from, I'm happy for that. And I hope that continues. I just kind of feel like we could have gotten to this point a lot quicker if that, instead of me saying these things, and I'm pretty sure, like Timmy said earlier, it may have been my delivery, and that's probably what it was. It was probably my delivery in how I came across with these things, and maybe he still sees me like that. Maybe he still sees that person when he sees me, and maybe that's why there's still an issue now. But I just 100% feel like we would be where we are now 5 years ago if like I would have been, and I don't want to say listened to, because that makes it sound like I'm just like lecturing or giving a lecture, but I just not to pin any roses on myself, but I've spent a lot of time playing that instrument that he plays, and I feel like I have a lot of insight on technique and how to go about it, and when to play and when not to. And I just I don't feel heard. But no, that's just how I feel. That's how I feel about it. And I'm sorry for whatever kind of feelings that might create in whenever they hear this. I'm sorry. I really am. I love you. I have to be honest about these things, or it's going to drive me crazy, and I'm not going to want to be a part of this thing anymore. And that's not an option. So I have to say this, and I hope that and I'm sure you'll listen to this. I hope you understand why I say this like this in this method rather than in person, just because I love you, but you get a little heated sometimes unnecessarily, just because you disagree with the things that are being said. And I no doubt know that this will be something that is a disagreement in the beginning, but hopefully by the time I have reached the end of what I've said, that just like every other time we have a disagreement or an argument about something, that you will have understood my standpoint and why I stand that way and why I feel that way about it. And also, please don't take any of the stuff personal. I just want the band to be fine. I may have said a bunch of shit in the past that did not pertain to the band that I didn't need to say, and I'm sorry for all of that shit, but all of these things that I'm saying are all just strictly for the band. Strictly for the band. That is my number one care right now. That's all I give a shit about, is making sure that we are successful and that we are not sick of each other and that we can say things to each other without getting all in our feelings on these things, and that we can be honest and be who we are and not feel like we're gonna hurt somebody's feelings by saying something. But I want us to reach that point. And I hope that we can. Goodness gracious. There's a man who walks beside me, and he's who I used to be. And I wonder if she sees him and confuses him with me. And I wonder who she's pining for on nights I'm not around. Could it be the man who did the things I'm living now? I was rougher than the timber shipping out upon the lake. When I headed south at 17, that sheriff on my back. Never held a lover in my arms or in my gaze, so I found me another victim every couple days. Well, the night I fell in love with her, I made my weakness known to the fighters and the farmers digging dusty fields alone. Jealous innuendos from the mouths of jealous men let me know what kind of country I was sleeping in. Well, you couldn't stay alone or on the plains before the war. My neighbors took to slighting me, and I had to ask what for. The rumors of my wickedness had reached our little town. Soon she'd heard about the boys I used to hang around. Well, we robbed a Great Lakes freighter, killed a couple men aboard. When I told her, her eyes flickered like the sharp steel of a sword. All the things that she suspected I'd expected her to fear was the truth that drew her to me when I landed here. There's a man who walks beside me, he's who I used to be. And I wonder if she sees him and confuses him with me. And I wonder who she's pining for on nights when I'm not around. Could it be the man who did the things I'm living now? Well, I carved her cross from live oak and her box from short-leaf pine. Buried her so deep she touched the water table line. I gathered what I needed and I headed south again. And to myself I wondered, would I ever find another friend? There's a man who walks beside me, and he's who I used to be. And I wonder if she sees him and confuses him with me. And I wonder who she's pining for on nights I'm not around. Could it be the man who did the things I'm living now? All right, I'm gonna get out of here, guys. Please go check out screwballwhiskey.com, www.screwballwhiskey, S-K-R-E-W, ballwhiskey.com. Screwball Whiskey, tomorrow's stories begin right here, the original peanut butter whiskey. Walk into your local liquor store and ask them for a bottle of Screwball, the original peanut butter whiskey, and they will be happy to assist you. And do that. Go to screwballwhiskey.com, hashtag get screwed on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, all over social media. At Screwball Peanut Butter Whiskey. I think at Screwball Whiskey on Instagram, if I'm not mistaken. Screwballwhiskey.com. Go check them out. Our lovely sponsors. Thank you guys so much for all the kind things that you do for me and my guests. We love you. Also, please, if you guys want to follow me on social media, at Kelsey Hudgins on Twitter, at Yonder Wizard, Wizzerd on Instagram. And if you guys want to support the show, at Kelsey-Hudgins-1 on Venmo or paypal.me/Kelsey Hudgins. If you guys want to support the podcast at all, that's where you can do that. Please click the subscribe button on YouTube. Please follow on Spotify. Please, anywhere podcasts are available, Apple Podcasts, Google Play. We upload on Podbean. Thanks to the fine folks of Voices of Misery podcast for hooking us up with Podbean, and thanks to the fine folks of Podbean for allowing us to continue to release content on their platform. And what else do we got? Stay tuned next week. Horsehead Live is going to be happening. Go subscribe to Horsehead Businessman on YouTube for live shows coming up every Wednesday from the Horsehead Businessman channel. And also stay tuned for more coming from this channel. I know I haven't been so active as far as streaming lately. But yeah, I'm turning that around now. So you're gonna be seeing a lot more of me. And I know I've said that in the past, and I haven't delivered on that, and I'm sorry that I've cried wolf. But this time we're back because I don't really have much of a choice. I got to talk to somebody, and it's gonna be y'all. Damn it! And if you guys want to hang around with me when I go live during the day, sometimes from my phone, follow me on Periscope at Kelsey Hudgins on Periscope. All of these things are being streamed right now on Periscope and Twitch. You can follow me on Twitch as well, Yonder Wizard on Twitch, Wizzerd. Also, if you guys want to join the Discord, there's a link to the Discord chat on my Twitter, my Instagram. I think just Twitter. Yeah, there's a link to my to the Discord on Twitter, the Kelsey Hudgins Twitter. Go join the Kelsey Hudgins Show Discord channel. And shout out to all my fine people from the Kill Tony Discord. And if you guys want to join the Kill Tony Discord, the link is in my bio on Twitter for the Kill Tony Discord. Feel free to click that and come and hang out with a bunch of comedy heads and talk about comedy if you'd like to do that. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Well, I'm going to go ahead and let you guys get out of here and get on with your lives and live your lives and be good people, because we just need more of that. And I'm sorry, by the way, I want to make this apparent. I'm sorry if it just seemed like I was up here kind of talking shit about my friend or bad-mouthing somebody or anything like that. And I don't want that to be the situation here. I don't want you guys to leave here thinking that I'm a shitty person, because I might be a shitty person, but I don't want that to be what you gain from this. I want you guys to know that I love the person that I'm talking about, and that we're like, everything's fine. I just have to say these things. If you've ever been in any sort of relationship, this is no different than that. This is no different than any other relationship that you've ever had. And after a certain amount of time, stuff just gets a little tough every now and again. And you know, all these gray hairs, look at that shit. I ain't like that. But anyway, I'm not going to explain any more to it. I'm going to let you guys get on with your lives. I love you. I mean, in a world full of shitty people, don't be one of those people. Be a good person. Peace, bitches. All right, YouTubers. I love you. I mean it. Click subscribe. Be good people.